Man, you just never know when it's your last day. I work the night shift as a forklift driver at a warehouse, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And I tell you what, I'm usually a night owl, but 12-hour shifts are rough. But there's typically just three of us on the floor, and I'm mostly just being responsible to unload the trucks. And the plant is right above us where we usually work at. So they make the product there, and then they bring it down. And then I pretty much just unload it and store it. And well, it was a slow night. I usually have a radio with the drivers, but those things are very bad because sometimes I'll be on the other side of the warehouse and I can't hear them because it's like proximity chat. And so we usually just exchange our phone numbers and just call each other when it's like, hey, he's about to bring one down. Where do you need it? I tell him where, and then unload it. Tell him where's an empty, and he takes that back up there and gets loaded up. So it's just rinse and repeat. Nothing too difficult. I mean, it's the night shift, so it's pretty dead. But that morning, whenever I clocked out, there was no indication of anything going on. Nothing people were just walking in fine. And I get home around 6:15, 6:20, and I pretty much just start getting ready for bed. I'll watch a little YouTube to unwind, but around 7:30, 7:20, I think it was 7:30, that my mom had called me because she worked at the plant for 18 years up there, so she became a team lead, and she had called me and said, because I was kind of wondering, it's like, why is she calling me? Because she knows I'd either be asleep or about to go to bed. And I answered, and she said that a guy had just died. I was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you get blown up from one of the tanks? Because the forklifts that we used, they had the like propane tank type of things, like liquid nitrogen. Like, they were very flammable, and a lot of times whenever you try to hook them up, the hoses, the pressure will release and it will spew some of the substances. That's the reason why you're supposed to wear PPE, thick gloves to be able to tighten up, because whenever it leaks, you can get frostbite. So I was thinking it was that, because there's a lot of people who like to smoke around the tanks, which that's another thing about the place, that they just hire anybody. And well, she didn't really know much of what was going on, but she just said she heard a loud explosion, and said that the maintenance guys went outside and came back and said nobody leaves, that everybody just stay put. And so, they were trying to figure out what was going on. Said there was two people hurt, but later that night, I come to find out it was one of the tankers. He was refilling one of the chemical. Uh, what is it? It's like one of those big old tanks. It was just full of corrosive kind of chemical. There's a news article about it. I'll show you. But I heard from the drivers, because they were still trying to figure out what happened. But one of the drivers, the boss, was there and he saw it happen and had it on dash cam, and they said it traumatized him because the dude was behind it and said that he could tell it was like the leaking, or it was making some popping noises. And so he told his company, because this was like another contract through a different company, and 20 minutes later the back end just blew out, and the guy was behind it refilling the tanks. And from what they said, that the whole back just flung around the side, threw him into another trailer, dented it, and he was just laying there covered in chemicals, like literally being dissolved. Don't know if he was unconscious or if he possibly just died on impact. But I mean, that was bad. It was really sad, and the fact that they had a pizza party, because they sent him down instead of shutting down the plant immediately. They sent him down to the warehouse to where I worked at and played cornhole. Then around like 2 or 3 p.m., they was able to leave. because their shift would end at 6. And so the plant was shut down for a couple of days, but I still had to work because the warehouse, there's 3 warehouses that are nearby. The plant is just above us. And, so we were still working and just hearing the stories of what had happened from the drivers that had saw it. It was like, man, you just gotta, and like, you just started your shift like an hour and a half. It's like you don't expect to just wake up to die. So I feel for the family, and I hope they get compensated for what happened. I can only imagine what they're going through with that situation. And there was another person. She wasn't. They said she was having a heart attack, but I've also heard that she was just having a panic attack. So she went to the hospital, but she was cleared and fine. And she was one of the like the supervisors there, and so she saw it, and it just freaked her out. And it was just a very sad day to have to go in and hear what had happened. Never met the guy, but the company just, they didn't, there might have been some protocols broken. So, and I think they're still doing an investigation that hasn't been finished yet, so we'll find out. Thanks for watching.